Alright, hello everybody, and welcome. It is that time of the month again where I talk about things that I bought. And it's a good size stacks this month. Nothing like last month where I was like overwhelmed by how much I got. Before I start, it's weird. The reason the stacks are decent size is because I always get this thing at the end of the month, like I know I want to talk about games that I bought and everything. And what happens is I get towards the end of the month and I feel like I haven't really bought anything. Not last month, of course. But since I've been doing these videos, it's just like, man, what did I buy this month? I can't think about it. So I ended up like going and picking up these like little really cheap games, a bunch of them. Because I feel like, oh man, I want to have a long video, I want to have stuff to talk about. Especially because at work we changed our discount bins to, instead of we recently had changed them to 7 for $20, now it's 10 for $20, and that plus I get an employee discount, of course, and everything, so I ended up just, like, grabbing stuff, and it used to be that I would have it in my head whenever I go out to, like, thrift stores, you know, people yard sailing, stuff like that, oh, there are these games that are cheap, and I will, so that I don't just put all my money back to work where I got paid from, I would save games for that, because it would be a little tiny bit cheaper, but it would feel like I'm not just putting money back into the store where I got, you know, getting paid in video games and everything. Well, with the way that we changed it, now these games are less than $2 for me, and so that I don't go and feel like I'm going to spend that money elsewhere, I'm actually going to spend it at the store, just make sure I get them all at once, so I get my little bulk discount and everything, and I pay very little money for these games, but we're still doing the 10 for $20 thing. So, you know, it's a little plug for the store for Core Gaming. Like, you know, we have a lot of PS2, we have a lot of Xbox, we have a lot of 360 that we want to get in there, we have a lot of PS3 that we want to get in there, and we have a lot of Wii we want to get in there. So, make some room with the PS2. We also have PS1 and stuff. We'd like to have it be more PS2, Xbox, Wii, 360 and PS3 stuff that we have room for. It's getting a little overwhelming with all the PS3 and 360. But anyway, that's my little thing about some of the games that I bought. I have some big stacks of one thing, but I'm going to start with the things I bought very little things for and move up. First, I only got one Wii game this month, and this was because I was at the thrift store and it was just that one extra game to get a bulk deal, and it was also tied to other things I bought, which is that I've becoming into this person who feels like they have to buy all the wrestling games from each year, because with me specifically, it's not so much about the roster or anything that they change from year to year, you know, because I'm at this point buying a lot of games from the times that I either vaguely remember or that I completely missed while I wasn't watching wrestling, and now I'm obsessive about wrestling again, smarky and everything. So this one on the Wii, this is from after they started doing the classic controller and GameCube controller support, so you can use traditional control scheme, which is a necessary thing for me for the Wii ones. And the reason that I buy them all is because I want the story or like classic modes that they do. Because I'm obsessed with the idea of being able to like recreate the matches, and you know, whether they present it as kayfabe or not. You know, being able to, you know, be in the process of the match happening and make things happen. And they do that all the time, every single year, and they do it differently. So this is SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. It has something like that. It's a Road to WrestleMania thing, so it's actually a new story. But whether it's a new story or recreating the old ones, I like that. So it changes every year. So one Wii game. One Vita game this month. Gravity Rush, one of the big Vita games, and actually, of course, got ported to the PS4, and then when Gravity Rush 2 came out, nobody had realized that Gravity Rush 1 was on the PS4, and that game shot up in price, and now that I have a Vita, I don't have to pay the ridiculous price for Gravity Rush 1, just buy it on the Vita for like $20. But it's a pretty much a staple of the Vita. Really cool, original platformer action. Cool stuff. There's actually two big old box things that I wanna get to. I'll do this one first, because I absolutely love this. This is the only Genesis game I bought this month, and this is The wear and time is Carmen Sandiego, as you can see, but it's just a massive, huge, big box. They did the same thing on the NES, where it's published by Konami. Konami on the NES, EA on the Genesis doesn't really make a difference. Obviously, it looks a little bit better on the Genesis. The NES one has a slide open cover. This one has a thing on the top, flap on the top. This box is a little bit ripped, but most importantly, all copies of this game, the reason the box is so big, come with, if I can get my hand in there without ripping the box, a full-size, or a pocket-sized desk encyclopedia, so that you can look up things in the game while you play it, and so they can help you to beat the game. And I think that's amazing. I had to have one. I got really, really good price for this one online, considering complete, because, with this, there's even more stages of completion than with, a lot of games. Card's dirt cheap. It's like $5. Even the game complete, with just the case, is like 10, 15-ish. And then it goes around 30 to 50 for the complete thing, and I actually got mine for like $20. So I jumped right on that as soon as I saw it. I was really, really happy. Because it just had this big, and I mean the game will be cool too. I like the whole like history, vaguely educational stuff. I'm totally cool with that. I'm interested to see it, and use the desk encyclopedia as they intended. And then this other box thing. This is a really, really big deal for me. Shocking that I bought an N64 game because I have them all, but this is a very, very special case. Most people know about the Turok Rage Wars Great Card. If you're at all into N64 collecting, there's a bug in Rage Wars in the retail version that you couldn't finish the game on co-op. So if you told Acclaim, well, I have this bug, they prepared for that. They made up these gray cartridges. You sent them back your cartridge, and they sent you a new one, and it was gray. Card only, gray version of Turok. Only people who encountered it or heard about it afterwards knew about it. Similar situation happened with WWF No Mercy, with less people that know about it from experience, and less people are going to be able to figure out by looking at the cartridges, because same thing, THQ, basically what happened with No Mercy. Some people go their entire lives playing No Mercy without experiencing this bug. Some people have had it happen to them numerous times, done their research, and now they know about this. But No Mercy uses flash memory, which is really expensive at the time, and it had a bug in it that would just randomly delete everything. It would just completely wipe the card because it would get corrupted, and you'd start over. I've had people tell me that they've had this happen to them 5 times. Other people just don't know about it. It never happened to them. So THQ had the same thing as Acclaim did, but they made complete copies that they would send you because they were nicer than Acclaim. THQ would send you a complete copy, and they would even have black cartridges, which is why it's so hard to tell that they're anything different. This just has the save glitch fixed. The only thing that's different about the cartridges, there's 2 things, and yes, this has a little bit of a bleach stain on it, but it doesn't even matter to me because I got actually a crazy price on this. Even for a complete on this, I paid like $20 for this on eBay. I, again, jumped right on that because it's hard enough. I've looked for this several times on eBay, and nobody knows about this. Nobody lists them this way. Nobody says, oh, I have a fixed save copy. The only difference between this cartridge and a regular No Mercy card on the outside is this product code here, which the product code, it's tough to get its focus, but the product code will end on a regular cartridge in -USA. That's true for most N64 cartridges. This one ends in USA-1. That means that it is a revised version. It has basically ROM version 1.1 or so on it. The only other thing is that the punch-out, which you'll probably have even tougher time seeing, right, yeah, you can't even really see it on this with this camera, but the punch-out that'll usually be 2 digits on a normal N64 cart will be 3 digits with an A following 2 numbers. So on this one, the very, very faint punch-out is 09A. as opposed to it would be just like 09 or 18 or something like that. So nobody really realizing this, even if someone has a copy, they don't really think about it because they don't know that the save glitch exists. And especially if they had one of these ones from the first time that they bought one after, the N64 was gone and had moved on, you don't know that this is any different. You resell it, you don't know it's any different. Basically, the only thing you can do is look on eBay. If you're looking for one specifically, look on eBay, look at all the pictures, and just what I did, just whatever picture of the cartridge, just see if it says -1, if there's anything after that USA on the product code. That's what I did. I knew it said USA and that there was something after it. I was like, oh my god, that's a -1 No Mercy right there. And because nobody really, lists them this way, sells them this way, there isn't really any inherent value to a -1 No Mercy, except for people who know what it is and know what they're looking for. Will probably pay more for it just because they know they're looking for it. This is the first one I ever saw when I've been looking on eBay, which I've done several times, and I bought it. And the amazing bonus is that I got a box and manual with it because THQ sent out complete copies. It's great, amazing. And this is like one of my favorite pieces in my collection because I have a -1 No Mercy and I never thought I'd even see one. I check every copy at work. I check every copy I happen to stumble across on eBay, anywhere else. If it's a -1, I've never seen one. As far as I remember from when I've been checking, I've never seen one. So, amazing. Next up, after that whole N64 rant, I did buy 2 3DS games this month, which is weird. I didn't buy any Switch games, except digital. I bought Kamiko, and I reviewed I and Me for the website. But I bought Bit.Trip Saga. I was really looking for the Wii one, just because, I'd rather buy a Wii game than a 3DS game, but this one was like half the price, and it still has all 6 games on it, including Runner, which is what I wanted. So yeah, you can get these on Amazon for like $12, brand new, which is really good. It's what I got. And then this is like dirt cheap at GameStop. If you thought that Henry Hatsworth was copyright infringement, you have not seen Dr. Lautrec and the Forgotten Knights, published by Konami, a puzzle-solving adventure, which takes place with a guy in a hat and an apprentice in Paris, as opposed to London, and they solve puzzles to move the story along. I am a huge Professor Layton fan. I love those games. This game's not supposed to be good, but holy shit, that's just shameless. This is just a shameless copy of Professor Layton. I had to have it, especially for $5. And 2 Dreamcast games this month too. This is the thing about this is published by Natsume. They publish Real Fishing for the most part. And the thing about Natsume is every single one of their games looks just like the most relaxing thing. I probably mentioned this before. And Real Fishing absolutely exemplifies that, because as opposed to Sega Arcade, Sega Bass Fishing and Sega Marine Fishing, which are super arcadey, arcade ports, as a matter of fact, at least Bass Fishing is. This just looks like the most relaxing thing in the world, and if you're going to buy the only fishing games I really care about are Dreamcast ones, this one just, it exemplifies Natsume, so I'll totally gladly add it in with Sega Bass Fishing and Sega Marine Fishing. And then the other one is Dave Mirra on the Dreamcast. This was in our bargain bins. We really don't have any Dreamcast stuff in there, but this was in there, and I was like, this had to be in there for years at this point. I'm taking this freaking Dave Mirra just to have a Dreamcast game. 2 PS1 games. This is one. For all the times I've owned Need for Speed games, I've only really tried to play one. It was Hot Pursuit 2. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I don't have Hot Pursuit 2 anymore. I think last month I talked about Most Wanted. So I have Most Wanted, I have another one we'll get to, and I have this one now, because this is kind of the big one. Hot Pursuit on the PS1. So I just like the idea of a somewhat approachable game where you get to race these really nice cars, the supercars and stuff. So I'm totally down for that. And Syphon Filter 2. Syphon Filter is really good. I've had the first one for a while. I played a little bit. I think it's good. I just never finished it. But I've been wanting to get 2 for a while because it's supposed to be the best one. So I got that. Next, we will go on. We'll do PS4 first. two PS4 games this month. I did get Doom. I actually did start playing Doom, because I really like Doom, and I thought this one looked amazing, and I heard it was amazing. I actually started playing it, but I started playing Quake on 64 right afterwards, and I was like, I do not want this misery of id Software just hating me, because they act like they hate the player. So I stopped playing it for a little bit, but it's really good. Dark, gritty, gory, great soundtrack. And this one, I actually played this one too, this 88 Heroes. I got this on a Prime Day deal, the only Prime Day deal that was even remotely worth it. It's still $20. It's a $20 game. But this is like an old school modeled 2D platformer with, pixel art graphics and stuff. And the thing is, it's based around the numbers 8 and 88. So the thing is, you have basically a time limit. You have 88 levels. You have 88 minutes to complete the game as a whole, and you have 88 seconds on each level. And you have 88 lives to finish the game, which take the form of 88 heroes. The titular 88 heroes, which are all these goofy little, different, easy to understand characters that you just, you start the level, they all have their different abilities, they control a little bit differently. Some of them are completely useless. Some of them are really, really helpful. You'll have your favorites. The thing about it is that most of them, I at least chuckled a little bit. I can count probably on one hand the number of characters that they had. There's 88 different characters that I thought were stupid, or I didn't laugh at, or I didn't think were cool. So definitely go get this one. This is really fun. And if you like games that are tough platformers that you die a lot, 88 Heroes definitely. PS3. This is not the most spectacular PS3 stack you'll ever see. We're getting into the things that I was going to mention before, like, wow, people do not watch these videos to see that I bought a bunch of Call of Duties and stuff. But I did have to buy Black Ops. I realized I didn't have Black Ops. I have Black Ops 2 on the Wii U. I can't stand Call of Duty right now over the past couple of years, but the Black Ops games, they were fantastic. I haven't played 3, but I probably will at some point. But yeah, Black Ops 1, which is really cheap on PS3, but everyone wants it on 360, and I'm not playing online, so, because it's Xbox One compatible. Same thing, I got Medal of Honor. Actually, the reason I got this is because right here, this has a remastered version of Frontline. So this is the game. I'm not expecting much from the actual game. Basically, it's just a Modern Warfare ripoff because everyone did that after they were successful. But it's DICE, and Battlefield's alright. But a little bit upscaled. Medal of Honor Frontline sounds amazing. WWE 12, same thing before. I've become obsessed with getting all these wrestling games. So I got WWE 12 because it's like $5 at GameStop, which the PS3 360 era things don't go that cheap usually. So if it's $5, I'm gonna pick it up. And then two 2K sports games, NHL and NBA 2K7. I had this one already for Xbox, but Honest Gamer Mike actually had been telling me about this. It's just very interesting. There's a feature in the PS3 version that you get to use motion controls to control the goalie, which sounds really cool. It also has Joe Thornton on it. I love Joe Thornton. And that's also the reason that I picked up NBA 2K7, because I love Shaq. If Shaq's on the cover of a game, which he's been on a million different game covers, I'll pick it up, even though I know nothing about basketball past 2004, 5-ish. And mostly nothing before that either. But yeah, the thing that I will actually bring up about the 2K sports games, especially this one, because this one has visual concepts on it, it's a damn shame to me that nobody's into visual concepts. I'm a huge fan of their games. They had a weird period around this point where they had been 2 years removed from losing the football license and basically for the most part, the ESPN license as a whole, which they had a stellar year with for the 2005 ones. Most people you ask, the best football game ever is NFL 2K5. One of the best hockey games I've ever played is NHL 2K5. So, Yeah, they also did basketball that year, which I don't really hear as much about, but, you know, their visual concepts was good all the way back on the Genesis and on the Dreamcast, and they were doing great stuff, and nobody really gives them enough credit, I don't think. Now we're getting to, some PS1 stuff, PS2 stuff, rather. This is pretty much all cheap stuff, yeah. But cheap stuff with stories. You can see from my shirt, I love Twisted Metal. I love all car combat games. I'm always down to try them. And this one's probably trash, but as VCL Motor Mayhem, it's a car combat game. I respect giving it a try, so yeah, definitely. And that's one of those ones that, like, I always had it in my head, like, oh, I'll pick this up at, like, a thrift store or yard sale if I see it really cheap. But then it became cheaper to just buy it at work. So this is actually a little bit more interesting. This one is Headhunter, and I actually got Lucy for the sequel in there. But the first one specifically was actually a Dreamcast game that didn't make it out to North America. It got published in Europe. And it's a Sega first-party title, which it doesn't actually really have it on this box, but it says it in little fine print things down here. Just a cool action-adventure, secret, not really stealth game, but, like, seems pretty cool. And the fact that it was a Dreamcast game and it was a good one, definitely interesting. I feel like most people in North American don't know about this game because it never made it out here on the Dreamcast. And then PS2 it got lost in the shuffle, you know? Another one, SmackDown vs. Raw, the first one. I remember having this one when I was a kid specifically. It's not going to have like GM mode and stuff in it, but it's going to be a very specific point in WWE, and right after they went to the SmackDown vs. Raw thing, so it'll be interesting. Decent stuff. Again, people don't watch these videos because I buy Call of Duty and shit, but Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1, and I had a disc only for Finest Hour. I put it in here too. I like World War II stuff, so I'm very likely to buy that stuff, and I'm actually really interested to see how Call of Duty does going back to the World War II things, even though I don't think they're going to do it with the same amount of integrity that they had at this time and on the PC stuff. But I definitely I'm down to play any Call of Duty World War II things. This is interesting. So there's another one that I'll get to as well, but I have this thing with Tony Hawk because I love all the Tony Hawk games, at least the ones that I played when I was a kid, and when they were out, I pretty much stopped playing them after Underground 2. I just had not picked up American Wasteland, and I never really followed it. Sucks for me because apparently American Wasteland is the best game in the whole series, but I've never really gotten into it because I never played it originally, and every time I try to play it, I don't really feel it the way that I did, like the extra boost of nostalgia that it gives you. So, Project 8 isn't supposed to be as good as that one, but I've seen some of the levels in it, and anything Tony Hawk, I'm like, you know what, if it's cheap, I'm gonna pick it up. So Project 8, and two more, again, World War II, love World War II stuff. These are the two from the older console ones that I didn't have. So European Assault, which I played before, and Vanguard, which I haven't. So that, and I will do, just to follow up on the Tony Hawk thing, crazy, on PS2 and GameCube, people go crazy over American Wasteland, but Xbox, it's still really, really cheap, so I picked it up for that specifically. It's also the only Tony Hawk game I have on Xbox, so hopefully I'll play this and I'll be a little bit more into it and see what all the fuss is about. Because this is the one that I've heard so much about, tried to play it, but don't have the memories of it. So, we got Smashing Drive, which is basically Namco taking Crazy Taxi and making it even more insane by kind of blending it with a little bit of car combat, a little bit of Reckless the Yakuza missions, a weird game from around the same time. Just a little bit more straightforward, but with crazier things to do, with crashing and weapons and things. So yeah, I actually wanted this for a long time on the GameCube, but again, if it's gonna go GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, and it was really cheap on Xbox. So another game that's actually a little bit, again, it's a little bit more expensive on PS2, but it was really, really popular on Xbox. It's 13, or mostly is written with just the numerals, like on the side here. I remember seeing this all the time when I was a kid and I had an Xbox. I played a demo of it and I couldn't really figure out what was going on. But it's a first-person shooter. It's a cel-shaded graphic novel style first-person shooter. It looks really cool. It's supposed to be good too, so good. Interested in the story for this too, definitely. And then everyone's favorite Grand Theft Auto knockoff that's not Saints Row: True Crime. Predates Saints Row, obviously. New York City is one that I wanted because it had, well, it's Streets of LA and then New York City. But for those of you who don't know, Snoop Dogg is in this. Snoop Dogg is in True Crime New York City, so yeah, you give it a try. Then one game on the GameCube, one GameCube game, Street Hoops. So I bought a couple of basketball games this month, actually. It's just weird. Because like I said, know nothing about basketball except for the Street Volume 2 era. This game is not Street Volume 2. It's not very good. The thing about this game, I tried it once at work, and I remember trying it once when I was a kid. But looking back on it 12 years later or so, whenever it came out, 13 years later. Or actually, no, was it 2002? So 15 years after this game came out. It is so easy to make fun of. It is impossible not to make fun of this game while you play it, because everything that NBA Street has going for it, it's funky, it's got a great look, it's got it's got real players and everything. So this is modeled more on the like white men can't jump era of style of street basketball. So they have it presented as this like real like street legends and stuff. So people have names in it. People have names like Half Man, Half Amazing, and apparently that's this guy. I was looking at the manual last night, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, it comes off as so cheesy and so lame, and it's just so easy to make fun of. And the game's not great either, so it's just a weird game. So there's that. 360 games. We have. I'll just get these two out of the way: Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. I like first-person shooters. They're cheap, really cheap, actually. And just seeing the competition that they put up for the Modern Warfare stuff. So, there's nothing really wrong with this engine, this game. They just had Call of Duty they were trying to compete with, and they couldn't really do that. I just picked this up for really cheap at GameStop too. This is Top Spin 3. Again, 2K Sports at this time. When was this? This was 2008, so around the same time as those other ones, the 2K ones. But Top Spin sort of, you could say, took up the reins that Virtua Tennis was kind of rolling along with at this time. I'm never gonna find a better tennis game than Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast, but when they're $1. Oh, actually, this and NBA 2K7 specifically. You can still find a couple games that are marked $1 at GameStop, but make sure that you point that out, because I actually had to do that. GameStop did this thing where they made that none of their games were $1 anymore, even though they used to be. So anything that's not like fixed, just make sure you point it out, because you can find that stuff. Another first-person shooter, Black Site Area 51. I really like this game on the PS2. The first Area 51 reboot game had like David Duchovny in it. Of course it did. Had a good story and everything. This game's not supposed to be nearly as good, but I'm gonna give it a try. And also another game that's not supposed to be very good, but I found this at the thrift store. It's Naughty Bear. It was really cheap and it looks goofy as all hell. So it's also published by 505. So not that like this supports 505 by me buying it or anything like that, but I do like to think like, yeah, I have games that are published by 505 and stuff. And then, not as big as last month, but I got a stack of Wii U games as I keep on building. And here's some stuff from the Wii U. You got Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's the Amazing Spider-Man 1 on there as well. Spider-Man games are always, at least decent. Activision's had that license for a long time, and Sony usually holds on to it, like the new Spider-Man game that's going to be exclusive to the PS4, but when nobody really cared at all about exclusives, you know, the Spider-Man games were on everything, so give this a try. I'm not expecting Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 or Spider-Man on the N64 Dreamcast PS1 level, but yeah. We Party You, which is actually one that I thought was going to be one of my big ones that I still had to get. I'm really glad that I didn't actually pay that much for it. I just looked on eBay and they were going for a lot cheaper than they had them at GameStop, Amazon, stuff like that. So, some interesting stuff. I never played the first one. It's just all about Nintendo using the gamepad, using their peripherals in an interesting way, but making a game, kind of like 1-2 Switch. I played 1-2 Switch too, and it's really, really fun, but it's not a $50 game. I don't think this was a $50 game either, but it was supposed to, I found out this is supposed to come with a stand that holds the gamepad for the games that you want it to be level. So I wonder if I'll be able to find one of those, but I tried a couple of the gamepad only games. They're kind of cool. But I'm just glad I didn't pay that much for it, as much as I thought I would. It was like $20, a little bit less. I'm currently 0 for 3 on buying, I'm 1 for 4. I'll get to that one later. I'm currently 1 for 4 on the usually not a gamble of buying games on Amazon warehouse deals, where they say no guarantees on the cover art and stuff. But until I started buying Wii U games from them, I always had good luck with it. But regardless, this was actually pretty lucky because this was a disc only. It got listed on Amazon warehouse deals for $3 or $5 or something like that. And this game on the Wii U is not cheap. It's around $30. So it came. It was loose. It was actually really infuriating to me because it still had the sticker on the case, but no artwork. So I was able to print some artwork for it, and I said, you know what, these are supposed to be really good. I'm not going to go sell just the loose Wii U one. I'm just going to keep it and know that I got it for really, really cheap, and didn't pay $35 for a basketball game. So there's that. I haven't played it yet, but they're supposed to be great. This was another one of my big ones. This was Tokyo Mirage Sessions # Fire Emblem. And it's everything that I would not usually play in a video game, but I will get to it at some point. Those of you who don't know, it's a crossover game with Shin Megami Tensei, which is the last game series I'm ever going to play, and Fire Emblem, which is not the last game series I'm ever going to play, but it's the type of game that I don't usually play. But Alexi loves strategy RPGs and stuff, so if nothing else, this is a little bit for that. And it was it's never going to be cheaper than it is right now because you can pretty much tell the timing and the games that it was. Never going to happen like that again. The one game I've been successful with in getting artwork, ordering it on Amazon Warehouse, Snoopy's Great Adventure, and this game's supposed to be not terrible or anything like that. I just think it's cool, like decent title to add to the Wii U collection. I got Pac-Man Ghostly Adventures 1 last month, and now I got 2 this month. This one's actually supposed to be really good. The first one's supposed to be decent. This one's supposed to be even better. So I'm actually looking forward to the Pac-Man games a little bit on the Wii U when I get around to actually playing those. I mentioned Need for Speed before. Like I said, now I have, I think, No. I always forget about Underground. So besides the Undergrounds, I have 3 Need for Speeds in my house. I have Most Wanted for 2005 on PS2, Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit on PS1 now, and now I have Most Wanted on the Wii U. I'm really, really glad that this game has gamepad support. You can play this game all on the gamepad, so anytime I see that on a Wii U game, I'm very, very happy. I got a bunch of the LEGO games last month, and this one was one I didn't cross off. I actually didn't really even think I was going to be into it because the way they presented it is as if it's only Jurassic World, and it's not. It's actually all 4 movies in LEGO, so I'm like, absolutely, I want that. So I got LEGO Jurassic World. And finally, another game that I would never, ever usually play, but it's less than $10 on the Wii U right now. It's Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut on the Wii U. So Deus Ex has always seemed really cool to me, but I knew I'd never be able to get into it. But I will give this a try and see if that will hold true or not. Because the last time I tried a Deus Ex game was the Xbox one. I think it's Invisible War. But I was a kid at the time and I did not understand what I was doing at all. This I'll probably have a better chance at. And that is it. So, like I said, I keep hammering away at the Wii U stuff. Buy a lot of cheap games. I buy a lot of, cheap PS2, Xbox original games, stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good month. I don't feel like I, blew all my money on these things or anything, I was trying to be conscious and mostly, yeah, keep building towards the Wii U things because, not like I said, not going full set, but going for anything that's worth having. Doing all right with that. So I really hope you enjoyed me talking for 35 minutes. And I'll catch you later, probably for 1080. If you don't watch any of my N64 streams, I'll just see you next month for more pickups.